list 99 out of order for this highway, so Congress is the only one who can fix it? Ugh. Well, let's just try to ignore that and move on. The interstate majors are all uniquely numbered, but not so with the mediums. There's an I-76 from Big Springs, Nebraska to Denver, Colorado, and another I-76 from Belmar, New Jersey to Akron, Ohio. Sandwiched between the majors I-90 and I-80 are duplicate medium I-84s, I-86s, I-87s, and I-88s. The rule is that as long as the duplicates are far enough away to avoid muddling minds, it's fine. There are also loads of duplicate interstate minors, which there have to be if you think about it. Take I-95, which crosses 15 densely populated states. To only have 9 options for spurs and bypasses would be rather limiting. In fact, just Maryland alone has an I-195, 295, 395, 495, 595, 695, 795, 895, and really? Ugh, so close. DOT, you've got to build an I-995 in Maryland just to complete the set for me, please. So that's the system, but as we've already seen with interstate mediums, anything built over decades is going to acquire exceptions. And taking a little detour to my home interstate, I-495, aka the Long Island Expressway, aka the LIE, don't dare call it the lie or locals will laugh at you. This is the spinal spur of the Long Island fish, never connecting back to its parent I-95 because Long Island is an island. But as a one-way spur, it should start with an odd digit, not an even, and it really should be a 2-digit interstate medium because it technically doesn't connect to I-95 at all, rather just dropping you off in Midtown Manhattan with an LOL buddy, good luck finding the Lincoln Tunnel. I guess the LIE is a lie after all. The worst exception on the other coast in San Francisco is Interstate 238, which the number tells you should be a bypass off of I-38, but no, I-38 doesn't exist. I-238 is a one-way spur connecting 2 other interstate minors, I-580 and I-880, so I don't even know what's going on here. There's also some weirdly one-off numbering, such as I-35, which splits into I-35 East and I-35 West to reach Fort Worth and Dallas before rejoining and pulls the same trick up north, dividing in twain east-west branches again to hit the Twin Cities. Why wasn't just one of the branches on each end picked to be the bypass so that the system could be consistent? Was it because the cities didn't want to be the one considered bypassed? That's totally the reason, isn't it? The weirdest one-off is the nice I-69, which splits itself into I-69 East, I-69 West, and I-69C. Okay, you do you, I-69. At least you have a sign, unlike back in New York with America's smallest interstate, 878, at just under a mile, which apparently doesn't deserve a sign, so the interstate anoraks can never complete their selfie collection. Okay, that's enough exceptions. I could do this all day. I already cut so many from the script you wouldn't believe it. Back to the big, beautiful, constructed constellation and its lost wayfinding ways, now revealed so that as your ancestors before you navigated by the sky, you too can go on an American road trip navigating by the interstate numbers alone. Well, after you memorize all the exceptions. I mean, practically, you should still just use your GPS. It's very reliable, and it also lets you know the traffic. This is not just a sheet of paper. It is an invitation to everything that exists. For this paper is metric, which has a special property other pages don't. Dividing into each twain is half the whole. Obviously, I guess. But each half is also the same shape as the whole, the ratio of its sides identical. This only works for metric though. For origami and letter paper, their halves are half as big, but different shapes, which is far less satisfying. A full sheet of metric is named A4 and each half A5 and each half of that A6, all the same shape again. And so it goes in the opposite direction. Double A4 to get same shaped A3, again to A2 to A1 to A0, which is 1 square meter of paper exactly, and exactly the same shape as A4. With metric paper, everything from posters to postage can be designed on the A4 before you and scaled up or down perfectly. No futzing with the margins. And everything can fit on a roll of A0 exactly for printing. It's so satisfying and practical and mathemagical, each sheet of A4 so hypnotizing. This A4 is a door to the exponential spiral of everything. Begin with 1 sheet of A4 metric paper. Divide in half, then half the half, again and again, always creating the same shape, dividing down to the size of a bee, and then smaller, to the size of the organs of the bee and the detailed limit of human vision. But no need to stop here. At 24 divisions are the cells of the bee, each just as alive as the animal they form, and each with their own organs carrying out the business of animating inert matter, defending themselves from viruses, things so small as to hover on the edge of what can be alive. 32 divisions down and we enter the mechanical brain of this animal cell, containing chromosomes of DNA, the operating system of life tightly coiled. But it's here the lights go out. Just 39 divisions is already smaller than visible light, and seeing in a meaningfully human way with limited human eyes is meaningless. So, let us turn on atomic vision to explore what's here. 56 divisions down is the width of a strand of DNA, where hexagonal arrangements of atoms interact mechanically to build living things, to build more DNA. 64 divisions down is the size of a single hydrogen atom, and we fall through its electron orbital to enter the interior and discover the truth of matter. It is made of mostly nothing. Everything you touch, everything physical you care about is an electron cloud creating the illusion of something over nothing. At the center of the atom there is but the tiniest speck of matter, the hydrogen nucleus, a single proton 1/100,000th the size of the atom that contains it. Before yet even 100 half divisions down from the A4 where we started begins to stretch human comprehensibility. The proton isn't a sphere, but a sea of quarks appearing and disappearing, averaging out to 3 bound together with the strongest force. Here, we hover above the edge of the abyss of quantum deep before plunging down into the nothing, falling for twice as many divisions down as we have already traveled, until we reach quantum madness at the very floor of the universe and the limit of our current theories, the Planck length. There is nothing here, yet this is the smallest size, the least distance that can be moved or measured. A sort of reality pixel, which is best not to think about, so let us fly back up the quantum well, doubling and doubling to return to the world of quarks and nuclei and atoms and light and the illusory cloud of the physical, back to life, back to our sheet of A4 paper, which now unfolds itself to a sheet twice the size, doubling to the size of a desk, then a room, then a home, the building the home is in, the street the building is on, continuing this same shape spiral to double to the size of the neighborhood around the street, then the size of a town, a small city, a thing which is not alive but a meta-organism which lives through the actions of its human cells. Just 36 doublings of a sheet of A4 is the size of the largest cities, and it is at this scale the accomplishments of the human species are most visible and impressive. But just a few doublings later, every structure that humans hath wrought fades to invisibility, and only the light we create can be seen. At twice the distance the Earth is wide are the farthest satellites, passing light around Earth for instant Terran communication. 60 doublings brings the moon's orbit into view, and at this scale, the speed of light, instant just a moment ago, is now slow enough to watch move, a beam from Earth to the moon taking 1 second. As far as we know, this is the speed limit of the universe. Nothing can travel faster. Communication between Earth and Moon will always have a delay, and as we resume doublings, it will not be long before the speed of light proves heartbreakingly slow. Past 68 doublings, Earth becomes too small to see, so we must draw her orbit instead. And at 76 doublings, we can see the orbits of Venus and Mars. Light now takes 2 minutes to reach Venus, and 14 to reach Mars. 80 doublings is the distance to the Sun, our home star, and doublings beyond this reveal the orbits of the outer planets, and eventually the whole of the solar system, which light takes 8 hours to cross. Beyond the orbit of Pluto is the Voyager 1 space probe, the farthest any object produced by human civilization has traveled. Yet, at the scale of all that exists, our species has explored nothing. There are yet still 20 doublings to go before we've left our home star. After what would take a month traveling at the speed of light, we enter the Oort cloud, icy planetesimals occasionally knocked from orbits to fall inward, becoming comets. It would take another year at light speed to leave the Oort cloud and the realm of the sun's dominance. 124 doublings is wide enough to reach our closest neighboring stars, but at this scale they are only points of light, and thus the truth of space. It is made of mostly nothing. Stars, with their own planets and potentially their own life, are light years apart, with naught but stray atoms of hydrogen in between. Though, as we continue doubling, the illusion of something solid appears. Our galaxy, this collection of 100 billion stars shining into the dark to create the appearance of a cloud. At the speed of light, 100 millennia across. But even our galaxy shrinks to a point, and now the other points of light are galaxies themselves, each with billions of their own stars. As the doublings continue, the galaxies form galactic filaments, the largest known structures, the last threads of light in the void. At 184 doublings of a sheet of A4 paper is the end of everything that can be for us. We have reached the edge of the observable universe, a sphere containing 2 trillion galaxies. Yet, even this may not be the end of everything that there is. Beyond the observable universe is the unobservable universe, in which exist objects so distant, light traveling from them beyond this border will never reach Earth before the death of every living thing everywhere, caused by the extinction of every star and the end of the universe itself. Just how many doublings exist beyond is unknowable, but potentially enough to shrink everything that could ever be for us into nothing, an infinite nothing. Every human used to have to hunt or gather to survive, but humans are smartly lazy, so we made tools to make our work easier. From sticks to plows to tractors, we've gone from everyone needing to make food to modern agriculture with almost no one needing to make food. And yet, we still have abundance. Of course, it's not just farming, it's everything. We've spent the last several thousand years building tools to reduce physical labor of all kinds. These are mechanical muscles, stronger, more reliable, and more tireless than human muscles ever could be. And that's a good thing. Replacing human labor with mechanical muscles frees people to specialize, and that leaves everyone better off, even those still doing physical labor. This is how economies grow and standards of living rise. Some people have specialized to be programmers and engineers whose job is to build mechanical minds. Just as mechanical muscles made human labor less in demand, so are mechanical minds making human brain labor less in demand. This is an economic revolution. You may think we've been here before, but we haven't. This time is different. When you think of automation, you probably think of this: giant, custom-built, expensive, efficient, but really dumb robots blind to the world and their own work. They were a scary kind of automation, but they haven't taken over the world because they're only cost-effective in narrow situations. But they're the old kind of automation. This is the new kind. Meet